Do you know the comparative and superlative degrees of able and exact? They seem simple, but the comparison might surprise you. If you want to know about these and many more, then you are in the right place. Hello and welcome back to my channel and today's English grammar session. So today, let's have some practice on positive, comparative and superlative adjectives. Remember the instructions. Compare the given adjectives and supply the comparative and superlative degrees for each. Let us discuss the rules. For most one-syllable adjectives, the rule is very simple. We add er to form the comparative degree and we add est to form the superlative degree. For example, black becomes blacker and blackest. Safe becomes safer and safest. Some adjectives may show small spelling changes like doubling the consonant or changing y into I, but the basic rule remains the same. Now look at these examples on the screen. Mad, madder, maddest. Dry, drier, driest. Merry, merrier, merriest. Just look at the spelling. So these are all regular one-syllable adjectives and they follow the er, est pattern. Look at the left side box in yellow. The simple rules are given. So remember these three spelling rules. First, double consonant. Second, y changes to I. And third, drop extra e and add r or st. These small rules make your comparisons correct and perfect. So let's continue with the next slide. Now let's move to regular two-syllable adjectives, especially the ones that end with y. For these adjectives, we don't add more or most. Instead, we follow a special spelling rule. If a two-syllable adjective ends in y, we change y into I and then we add er or est. So the ending becomes ier for comparative and iest for superlative. For example, gloomy, that becomes gloomier and gloomiest. Ugly becomes uglier and ugliest. So you can clearly see that the y changes to I before adding the endings. Now look at another example. Able, abler, ablest. Here the adjective ends in e, so we simply add r and st. So remember, two-syllable adjectives ending in y follow the rule ier or iest. Now let's continue with more practice. Now let's look at an important rule for two-syllable adjectives. Some two-syllable adjectives can be compared in two different ways. That means they can make either. That means er or est form or more and most form. So both forms are considered correct. For example, look at the adjective timid. We can say timid, timider, timidest, or we can also say timid, more timid and most timid. Both are acceptable. Similarly, the adjective severe can be compared in two ways. So remember, some two-syllable adjectives allow either form and both are grammatically correct. Now let's move to adjectives that have two or three syllables. For many longer adjectives, we do not add er or est. Instead, we use more for comparative degree and most for superlative degree. This rule is especially used for adjectives that have prefixes like on, endings like full and less, and also adjectives ending in ing or ed, and of course most adjectives with three or more syllables. For example, unjust, more unjust, most unjust. Here un is the prefix. Okay. Similarly, exact, more exact and most exact. Excellent, more excellent, most excellent. Agreeable, more agreeable and most agreeable. Difficult, more difficult, most difficult. Numerous, more numerous and most numerous. Then we have ending less like hopeless, more hopeless, most hopeless. Careless, more careless, most careless. Adjectives ending with ing like boring, more boring, most boring, interesting, more interesting, most interesting. Similarly, adjectives having endings ed like tired, more tired, most tired, and confused, more confused, most confused. So remember, longer adjectives usually sound incorrect with er or est. So we use more and most to compare them properly. Now let's continue with more practice examples. Now let's move to irregular comparisons. As we know, most adjectives form their comparative and superlative by adding er, est or using more and most. But some adjectives do not follow these rules. They change completely and these are called irregular adjectives. First, notice that the comparative and superlative degrees of both ill and bad are worse and worst. So we do not say badder or iller. The correct forms are worse and worst. Next, we have the adjective little. Its comparative form is less or lesser and its superlative form is least. Then we have few, which is used for countable nouns like books, students or apples. Its comparative is fewer and the superlative is fewest. So we say few, fewer and fewest. So remember, these adjectives are very common and their comparison forms must be learned by heart. Then let's go to the summary slide. Now let's quickly revise the rules of comparison of adjectives with one example for each. First, for one syllable adjectives, we usually add er and est. For example, tall, taller and tallest. But here the spelling changes may occur like dropping e, changing y or doubling consonants. Clear? Next, for two syllable adjectives, the rule varies. If the adjective ends in y, we change y into I and add er or est. For example, happy, happier, happiest. Okay? Then for adjectives with three or more syllables, we use more and most. For example, beautiful, more beautiful and most beautiful. Adjectives with prefixes or endings like full, less, ing or ed also take more and most. For example, careful, more careful and most careful. Some adjectives can take either form, meaning both are correct. For example, clever, cleverer and cleverest, and clever, more clever, most clever. And finally, irregular adjectives do not follow any rule, so we must memorize them. For example, good, better, best. So remember, check the syllables, check the ending and choose the correct rule. Finally, thanks for watching. Kindly consider subscribing my channel. I will come with new and informative videos like this in each episode. Do your work, believe in God and stay positive.